Hello and welcome back to the One Hotspur YouTube channel. I'm Tobey from _Spurs Center, and today I'm joined by Sam from THFC.National, Max from the Hotspur News, and we have a new person on today, Aaron from THFC.Prime. How you guys doing?
I'm all right, thanks.
Bit disappointed with Tottenham, but I mean, we've got a game tomorrow to try and get back to where we should be, but realistically, we're not going to get Europa League, which is, I thought that getting Europa League was bad, but if we can't even get that, then I don't know now.
Anyhow, maybe getting a better manager would help us bounce back next season. So we're going to rank some potential new Spurs managers that we've been linked with in the past week. So up first, we're going to have Erik Tenhack. We have Graham Potter, Edin Terzic, Ralf Rangnick, Genaro Gatuso, Paulo Fonseca, and Marzio Pochettino. So let's get right into it. Erik Tenhack, I'm a big fan of him. I think he could be a really, really solid manager if we were to appoint him. What are your guys' thoughts on him?
I want him to bring his coaching staff with him because they're the ones that found De Ligt, De Jong, Van der Beek. Obviously, he's been Van der Bench this season. But, apart from that, he was good at Ajax. Those sorts of players, he gets good players in. And, I think Kane could be convinced if he came because he's one of those managers who plays attacking football. And if he's backed by the manager, he could be Bill Nicholson. I'm not joking. I'm really not. I feel like he has potential. I know you don't judge him on age, and obviously he's middle-aged, but I just, perhaps potential is not the right word in that case, but I just feel like he is someone who could start winning trophies at Tottenham.
I agree. And to clear up any confusion on Ten Hag's contract situation, he didn't actually sign a new contract with Ajax when that was announced a few weeks ago. In his current contract, there was a clause that extended his deal by 1 year. And so when he started getting linked with other positions, Ajax triggered that. So that essentially if he leaves this summer, his new club would just have to pay Ajax more money than they would have if they didn't trigger that extension. So he is still on the market, as they say. Aaron, Max, thoughts on Ten Hag?
I think he's great because he plays attacking football, but not only that, he also brings through a lot of academy players, which I feel like we've lacked for the last couple of years. And we do have loads of talent in there. That's certainly better than some of the players we're starting at the moment. Yeah, no one's brave enough to play him.
It'd be interesting to see whether he is backed or not, though, because if he's backed, then he could bring half of that Ajax team back here. Like, I think of David Neres, perhaps. He'd be good if Son goes. I mean, I'm not saying that he will go, but, he terrorised us when he played against us in that semi-final.
I think there was a report a while ago where he said in a quote or something or an interview that he wanted to bring, I think, Gravenberch, and I don't know who the other one was, but he said he wanted to bring 2 players with him to his next club. So it would be interesting to see if we appointed him, if he was able to get those 2 deals over the line with Levy in charge.
I believe he does back him because every good manager there is never gets backed by Daniel Lee. Every good manager there is, he never gets backed by the chairman, and then he goes and sacks him and says, "Well, you're not good enough." Think about Pep for a second. Is Pep a really bad manager? Does Pep deserve the sack? No, but he brought players in, and that's what Daniel Levy needs to do. He needs to find a manager who he's going to back.
Here's the thing with Ten Hag. We all know that Levy's not going to back any manager.
Yeah.
So we need to get a manager that will play younger players and get cheaper players that think outside the box with signings. And develop.
I think that's something Leicester have done really well in the past few years. Bringing in I was shocked when they signed Maguire for 15 million from Hull City a few years ago. Same thing with when they signed James Maddison from Norwich. Same thing when they signed Tielemans from Anderlecht or wherever he was. I think there's a lot of talents that for whatever reason Leicester are just able to snap up and Spurs just aren't interested in. So I'd be interested to see how that pans out and if we could be a little smarter in the transfer market. Because if you look at our top 5 signings, 3 out of the 5 haven't turned out well. So we just have to be a little smarter with our money, I think. But moving right along, Graham Potter. Yeah. Graham Potter. I think Potter he could be a good manager. He's going to be, I think for me, either Ben Davis or the good category.
If honestly, if I think that in this tier list we should have a category called Graham Potter because he's so average. I don't know how to word it, but he is average defined. He's basically the Ben Davies of management, so I'd put him in Ben Davies personally.
Aaron or Max, any thoughts on that?
Thing is, everyone's going to complain if we sign him because he's not like a big name. But if you see what he's done with Brighton, they beat City this week.
Yeah, I know, but City didn't really put out their best team. They're getting ready for the final.
I know, but still, it's he's made Dan Burn look like a good centre back.
The only problem there is that I know that he's one of the managers that will get backed because he'll bring in cheap players from Brighton. We'll end up with Dan Burn replacing Alderweireld. And do we really want that? I mean, Dan Burn's 30, isn't he?
Just because we'll take Ben White off him instead.
Yeah, well, I think we all would, but
just because we're signing a manager from Brighton doesn't mean we're going to sign players from Brighton.
I know, but if we want some of those players, though, that's almost guaranteed.
I think if he's going to bring someone from Brighton, it'll be Tariq Lamptey, or I don't know how to say his first name, like Vez Bissouma, maybe.
Yeah, I'll take him.
Bissouma, I think is.
Max, you want to talk about Potter for a little bit?
Yeah, I think it's one of the managers that makes you think, how would he do if he had better players?
Like Eddie Howe.
Yeah, and also Bielsa and Eddie Howe, like those type of managers. To be honest, Potter makes you think, what can he do when he has better players in terms of quality? I mean, like Aaron said, he's made Dan Burn look like prime Maldini at Brighton. Like he's done an astonishing job there. And to be honest, looking at the options we have, I wouldn't mind if he came to Spurs because like I said before, he's one of the managers that makes you think, how would he do if he had better players around him? Because you've seen how good he's done. The way he kept Brighton up. Like this season, Brighton played very well in both games against us. They beat us 1-0, obviously. Back in November, being 2-1, but Brighton played well that game. So both games this season, Graham Potter's Brighton against Mourinho's Spurs have played very well. So
yeah,
to be honest, at the options, I mean, in my opinion, I'll put him in good. Maybe I'm being a bit over exaggerated, but at the same time, I think in my opinion, it's very exciting to see if he came to Spurs, see what he can do with better quality players. But
he does play attacking football, I think I should just point out as well, which is something that Daniel Levy wants. And I suppose it kind of makes sense that the deal goes through, and I can't imagine it costs too much. And, if Daniel Levy could save some pennies, honestly, right now I'd be jumping for joy. So I think it's one that will probably happen, but hope it doesn't. But again, like I said, he does play good football. And Brighton probably deserve more for that football. Which does make you think if there's the end product at Spurs, perhaps it would work. But
yeah, I put Graham Potter between good and Ben Davis. I put I'm putting him between.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he got just right about there. But moving on to the next one, Eden Terzic from Borussia Dortmund took over in December of 2020. Has led them to a 3rd place finish, which I think is pretty impressive considering I think they were languishing in 5th or 6th, and there was doubts if they were even going to make it to the Champions League. So he seems to have done a really good job. If you look at the Bundesliga stats this season, Dortmund have scored the 2nd most amounts of goals in the league. So he's been playing some attacking football, it would seem like. So what would you guys think about him?
Is he only interim coach? Because I think he's only interim coach, isn't he?
I don't think so. I think he's permanent.
Well, in that case, I don't think he's going to leave after how long?
6 months.
December.
6 months.
6
Yeah.
months. That almost writes him off immediately. Personally, I think Dortmund are a bigger club, maybe a bit richer. Why would he want to downgrade?
I don't know.
And they're going to be in the Champions League next season, and he's got them there. If I said to you, you've done so well, you can now play in the, you can now manage the Champions League final. You're not going to go and accept a job at the local chip shop down the road, are you? I mean,
I think
you're not going to downgrade that much.
Dortmund aren't a richer club than Spurs, I don't think. Based off of I think Spurs were the 8th richest. I don't think Dortmund were in the top 10. But I do agree that it wouldn't make sense for him to come to Spurs. And about a week ago, it was announced that he'd signed a contract extension. So it does seem unlikely. But we were linked with him today. So who knows? But I think I'd put him into either Ben Davis or Good. Max
good.
or Aaron. Yeah, Good.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
All right.
But then again, I haven't, like I said, I haven't really watched much Bundesliga, so I don't really know how they play and whether that would suit us. But moving on.
All right, Max, you want to say anything on Terzic, or should we move on to Ralf Rangnick?
Well, to be honest, it's the Bundesliga, so I can't really comment on the teams surrounding Borussia Dortmund. But once again, plays football, which obviously as last 5-6 years of nice women play attacking football. In the Premier League, one of the best at it. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. I haven't seen many rumours circulating around him coming to the Spurs, but I put him in Ben Davis or Good. I'd say same as Paul. I put him between them two, but I guess it's looking unlikely for now. But I wouldn't really take it.
Right,
it's also worth pointing out he won a trophy really quickly. He beat Leipzig, who I believe are above them, something like 4-1 or something crazy like that. He might even be able to convince Haaland, which would be incredible. But I doubt
that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I never thought for a minute it would, but I mean, I think I'd take Haaland over Kane any day, based purely on his age.
If Haaland's coming to Spurs, he's definitely got a kilo on his bedside table. Mum's life, he's snorting something. I'm telling you, if he's going to downgrade to Spurs, I've got no words for that.
I wouldn't say it's a downgrade going from it probably is, but it's not a massive downgrade. But what it could be is going from Man City or Real Madrid to Spurs, which is obviously a massive downgrade. But we'll move on to Rangnick.
I think Rangnick would be an excellent appointment. I think even if we just signed him as a director of football, I think it would be just great if we could bring him to the team. He plays attacking football. He likes to press high up the pitch. He likes to get the ball high up the pitch. He likes to score goals. And I think it would be excellent if we could get him in.
I don't even know. I mean, I've only heard of him because we've been linked with him, but I don't know. You said he's like a sporting director, I recall. So does that?
Well,
mean
he coaches and he's also a director of football. He's done both. He coached Leipzig up to the 18-19 season, and he basically built them into what they are now under Nagelsmann. And then he also has taken the director of football side of things. He identified Timo Werner, Sadio Mane, Erling Haaland. We were just talking about him.
If he can do that, then I think who's that sporting director we've been linked with?
Luis Campos.
That's him. If we get Campos and we get this guy as our manager, they could be a brilliant pair. Obviously, they've got to try and get past Daniel Levy when I don't even think his best friend wants to work with Daniel Levy. But that's probably money, his best friend, in all fairness. But moving on, I think Rangnick could be the one to rebuild Spurs, perhaps, because obviously we're at a stage where we know we need to rebuild. Perhaps Rangnick's the option that's going to rebuild the club. But, like you said, he found Werner, he found Mane. So, I don't know.
All right. Aaron or Max, you want to add anything on Rangnick?
I'd like to have him as a director of football, but I wouldn't have him as the manager. I've seen all this stuff about Campos, but I wouldn't have him because I feel like what he does is sells players for ridiculous money.
Yeah.
Most of the players sold at Monaco and Lille came through the academy, so he didn't even identify them. Whereas Ragnick's, I identified these players at smaller clubs, brought them in, and then sold them on for more, or kept them at the current club.
Yeah, that's a good point. Moving on to the next one, we have Genaro Gatuso, or at least I think that's how you say it. If you don't know him, he's the guy who said, sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit. So he currently coaches Napoli. As of today, they are 4th in Serie A. If they win their last game and Atalanta and Milan lose theirs, they could go as high as 2nd. Or if they lose and Juventus win, they could drop to 5th. So overall, I think it looks like they're having a pretty good season. They've scored 85 goals in the league, which is 2nd most after Atalanta's team. And they've conceded 40, which is the 3rd least after Inter and Juventus. So looks like overall they're having a pretty good season. Like I said, they're in 4th place as it stands. So I don't know too much about him. So just for that reason alone, I'd put him in the Ben Davis category. But does anyone have a strong opinion on Genaro Gatuso?
Well, if he could bring Koulibaly and a few others like Victor Osimhen, who have potential, if he could bring them, then I'm not going to complain. But is he? I think perhaps I'm going on a bit too much about bringing players to a club from his original club. But is he really? I mean, I don't really watch Serie A too much. I mean, I follow the league table a bit. I want to see how teams are doing there, but I don't really look at the football that they play. I don't watch it on the telly. So for that case, I'm clueless. I can't judge someone that I've never watched, but equally so, I suppose, you know, he's got Napoli up to, did you say 3rd or something?
4th.
4th. Well, you know, that's better than Tottenham, and they're coming up against tough teams in that fight. Like, obviously, Atalanta, Juve, Inter, obviously, a few of those are already above them. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know, really. But most Italians are defensive, so is he defensive, or is he the one that's going to use Kane properly? If we have Kane, that is.
Some fair points. Anyone want to add anything before we move on to Paulo Fonseca?
No.
I mean, I've rated Napoli highly all season, and we would say 85 goals. Was it 85 goals this season, Napoli?
Yeah, they've scored 85, conceded 40.
That's the shit ton. The only problem with that, like, conceded 40, and I guarantee Napoli have better defenders than us. So, I mean, like I've said this before, like we can't really play attacking football until we get the crap defenders out of our club. Otherwise, we're going to concede even more goals. For example, under Potts, we play attacking football of the same defenders, and we end up getting slapped 7-2 by Bayern Munich. Like, I guess it kind of just 3-0 by Brighton also. I guess it just kind of proves that you can't really like properly play attacking football until you get like centre backs that know what they're doing, if you know what I mean. Because 40 goals with defenders,
quite a hefty number,
who are better than us, is quite worrying.
Well,
like, I know it's a low number, but at the same time, like that's the Serie A. Like I know it's like a bit of a more competitive league than like the Bundesliga, the La Liga, etc. But at the same time, like it's nothing like the Premier League. So we'll see what happens. But in my opinion, just because like the goals conceded, I put him in Ben Davis. But yeah, not a bad manager.
I'd probably agree with that. I'd probably put him in Ben Davies too. But like I said, I can't judge him because I don't know what he's like.
Now let's move on to Paulo Fonseca from Roma, who have not had a very good year. And as most of us probably know, this is his last season, and Jose Mourinho is taking charge next season. And Roma are currently 7th. If they win their next game, they stay 7th, and if they lose, they could drop to 8th. They've scored 66 and conceded 56. I'm not a huge fan
But
of him.
that's not going to fix.
I've watched a few Roma games this season, so I'd put him in mid-table, honestly. I mean, to finish 7th in Serie A, imagine what like bringing him to the Premier League would do.
Another one that I haven't really watched is football, but the way that the stats go, that 56 goals conceded. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking to that United game. You know, he's going to be playing against Man United if he comes into the Premier League. So.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. All right. Max or Aaron, you want to add anything on Paulo Fonseca?
I mean, once again, many goals conceded. Like, he doesn't really suit our club in terms of the defenders we have. Like, once again, like I said with the other manager, wasn't it Gattuso, yeah? The Napoli manager.
Yeah.
I mean, with our defenders, we're going to concede like 500 goals. If it was our defenders in his team, where was it? 50 goals? 57 was it?
Yeah. Yeah, they have scored 66, conceded 56.
Well, that's bad, isn't it? Score. Okay, no, like I put him in Clinton and G then.
That would honestly be such a rushed appointment. Like, it'd be like me going and finding someone on the street and saying, "Do you want to manage Spurs?" I mean, we got no one else. The thing is, we need trophies. We need to be more ambitious. And you look at managers. I mean, obviously Pochettino hasn't won many trophies. In fact, he hadn't won any at all at Tottenham. I mean, obviously he went to France and won a few cups, I think. But you know, we need trophies, and Kane's not going to be convinced because they're basically the Italian edition of Spurs. They don't win trophies. They brought Mourinho in. They're basically repeating us, bringing in Mourinho, you know, with a bunch of bad defenders. But again, I just think that this would be such a rushed appointment, and perhaps bringing him in would be Clinton and Giant just because he plays for just because he manages Roma, who quite a few teams know of. You know, quite a few teams, fans, players, obviously, they will know of Roma. That doesn't like defend you to make you a good manager. So, you know, that's not going to convince Kane. I think it's got to go in Clinton and Jai.
I think putting him in Clinton and G is a little harsh. I think putting him in mid-table is fair. I think.
So you're.
Yeah.
Okay.
All I'm saying is Mourinho's replaced him. I think that says a lot.
Yeah.
Says all
you could say that about Poch. You could say that about Poch. That we do want Poch back. I mean, I think 2 horrendous sackings here. And obviously it showed no plan, as we're doing this video now, just shows that there's no plan to replace Mourinho when he was sacked. So we've sacked Poch, who we should have kept already, and then we go and sack a replacement who's half decent and the most likely to win a trophy, I'd say, because of his record. And 6 days before a cup final, and in fact, I was talking about this to my dad today. It's obvious that there was a clause in his contract that said if you win a trophy, you get like something extra. Like,
oh, yeah, that's actually a good point.
I bet that is probably what happened, because there's no way Daniel Levy would pay that extra money, you know, and that just re-emphasizes the point: profit before glory is what he thinks. And that's, he says we want to come across a caring club. Well, for a start, you don't care about your fans, do you? But again, every video we make, we find a way to criticize Daniel Levy. He makes too many mistakes. He's like the Eric Dyer of chairmans. You know, he makes too many mistakes.
All right, we're running a little long here, so we should wrap this up. Last is Marzio Pochettino, and this is going to be controversial, I think, but I would put him in good, for the sole reason of I think it's just too soon to bring him back. All of the players that got him sacked are still here. I mean, you look at the squad in Alderweireld, Aurier, Ben Davis, Eric Dyer, Davinson Sanchez, Moussa Sissoko, Harry Winks, Dele Alli, Lucas Moura, Eric Lamela even. They all played a role in Pochettino getting sacked, and I think there would just be too much bad blood between them. And unless Levy seriously backed Pochettino over the summer and got rid of maybe not all of those players I just mentioned, but got rid of a fair few of them and replaced them with genuine players that Pochettino wanted, I don't think it would work out as well. And I think we would find ourselves back in Europa League at best.
Now is the chance for Levy to come out here and back Poch, because he hasn't done it. He's done an Eric Dyer and made more mistakes, not backed Poch, then blamed him for not having a good team. Despite, obviously it was a bad start to the season, but I think we should have stuck with him. But anyway, moving on from that, I think that if we have a proper rebuild, which we've been calling for the past 2 or 3 seasons now, we're just not rebuilding enough. We're doing half the process, if you like. Bringing in Højbjerg, right, that's good. Bringing in Reguilon, who's been good until recently. That's half a rebuild. If you back him, I can guarantee you Kane will want to stay. Because if he looks at the team and he thinks, look, there's Dybala over there sitting opposite me in the dressing room. Oh, look, we've still got Lloris. We've still got Son. We buy some good players. He'll be thinking, I could seriously win something, even a Premier League, perhaps, if we get the right players in, because Poch is good enough to win that. He did say, I want to come back and manage Tottenham and win them something. So, I don't think it is too soon if he gets the right backing, which is what he deserves, I think.
Aaron or Max, opinions on Pochettino?
Well, I think if you remember back to like 2014, 2015, we were in a similar kind of mess at the time. And he got rid of all of the players who didn't really care about the club, who wasn't willing to work hard. And he had a massive rebuild then. And it built for us to do what we did over the next 4 or 5 years. And I feel like we're at another rebuild time now. And I think not many other managers could really do that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Max, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I totally agree with what you said about the whole I totally agree with what you said about the whole like we can't really bring him back until we get rid of the players that got him sacked, because otherwise we'll just go back to square one. And going like the exact same cycle, like for his last 2 seasons as manager. And 100%, like I would take him back, but not yet. But to be honest, Poch not getting financially backed was the only reason that we didn't wear silverware.
I agree.
Him not getting financially backed. So, for example, 2016, 2017, second in the league, FA Cup semi-final, Champions League football regularly. And we decided, so after the 2019 Champions League final as well, 2019 Champions League final, instead of buying the players we needed to compete for the same competition next year like Liverpool did after they lost to Real Madrid. They got Alisson, a new goalkeeper. They got Fabinho, I think, as well. So Liverpool got the players they needed to compete for the title next year. So the board of Liverpool acted decisively, whereas Daniel Levy decided to spend the money on the whole stadium business, which obviously for him is beneficial, and for the club and its stature, it's not at all. So 100%. I would take Poch back, but not yet. But hopefully he comes back because Spurs, ever since he's got sacked, I've always had dreams of Poch coming back to Spurs, and to be honest, under him we were playing the best football. We were playing for as long as I can remember. So so 100% I agree. I put him in good.
Yeah, I think just really quickly what you were saying about the stadium. I think the stadium was a smart investment by Levy, and I do think that it's going to be playing a key role in years to come. I think we got really unlucky with. I mean, obviously, it's awful for the world the way the COVID-19 happened, but I think just if you look at it from I hate to say this, but as from a business perspective, it was the worst possible timing to have people not enter the stadium when we're in stadium debt and we need to be paying it off, and we were planning on having people in the stadium so that we could like spend the money that we would earn from people in the stadium. So
I was literally about to say that
I mean,
because
The thing
yeah,
is, though,
I was literally about to say that because the stadium, because the whole thing about the stadium, like, it's a good idea. I agree to that, but you literally said the words out of my mouth. Literally the worst timing to invest in.
yeah.
the stadium. You know what I mean? Like, that's literally the point I was about to make.
I feel like it would attract a lot of tourists, especially South Koreans, because they want to watch Son. So I think of people like me who, you know, if they go on holiday to a foreign country, say Spain, for example, they want to go to places like the Camp Nou. They want to go to the, you know, they want to go to the Bernabeu Arena. They want to go to these venues because they're really, you know, you see them on the telly, you see them, you know, on your Instagram feed. You really want to be there. And when you see the Tottenham Stadium, you know, it's massively rated by the fans. And everyone's like, oh, you need to get down there. You need to go to it. And so it will attract fans eventually. But obviously we can't have fans in right now. But again, I just want to quickly say that Daniel Levy didn't really do the fans very well, did he, on the Villa game, putting them up in the stands just so that he can put his advertising money and then charge £60. Burnley, I mean, you'd think that they're one of the poorer teams. They're giving it away for free. I mean, come on. I mean, Burnley get
We're
a lot
getting
of
a little
hate for not
sidetracked
buying
here.
players.
Maybe this is a good topic for another video, so keep a lookout for that. But I think that's gonna just about wrap it up from us here today. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Go do it. I'm watching you. Go click the subscribe button. All right. Thank you for watching and listening. We appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next one.